is Rachel Tessman from StampYourArtOut.com, and today I'm going to share with you a fun fold technique that you can learn with the aid of 3x3 post-it notes. Let me show you this fun corner fold. I have been inspired by several cards I've been receiving in swaps. A couple of these cards here. This was a card that was created by Diane Evans, and then we have one that was done by Michelle Lynch, who she said she cased it from Linda Bowen. And you can see there's a fun little corner fold to them. So this is the corner fold technique. So I made a few of my own for my most recent swaps, and I'm going to show you how to do that real quickly. So you can cut your cardstock, your 8.5 by 11 cardstock in half. Either way, I cut mine in half so that I have a nice thick card here. I'm going to score it at 4 1/4. Actually, I forgot to trim it down all the way. Let me just do that real quick. There we go. Now we have a 5.5 by 8.5 card. Folded in half, it's 5.5 by 4 1/4. Now what I want you to imagine is a 3x3 section of that card. And a nice way to do that is to just take one of those post-it notes, because they have a 3x3 panel, and to picture that in the corner of your card as you're trimming. Also take note that you want to remember the 5/8 inch mark. So as we're doing this, I want my corner to be up here, so I can take that post-it note away now that I know where it's going to be, and I see that I've got it at the 3 inch mark here. So I'm going to start at 3 inches here, and I'm going to slice from the middle of my card almost to the edge, but not quite. I want to leave 5/8 of an inch, no more than 1/2 of an inch. I don't want to keep going further. I don't want to go beyond that 5/8 or even the 1/2 inch mark, okay? So if you're somewhere in there, that's perfect. And then we want to turn it so that we can trim going this way. So this would be the logical direction to turn our card, because again, we are picturing that 3x3 space up here. And this is where we can start again to cut. So we can just start where we left off and slice down. Now if that confuses you because you don't want to remember measurements or remember things like that, you can then take your card and fit it in this way instead, and you'll have that 3 inch mark area to start at, and you'll also have this 3 inch mark area to start at. So either way will work, but there we go. Now we've got a little slice out of there. Now let me show you going the other direction. So I'm going to cut my cardstock in half now at the 4 1/4 mark, and I'm going to score it here at 5.5 inches. So now I've got this type of fold instead. My card is still 4 1/4 by 5.5, but I've just cut my base cardstock differently. So now I'm picturing my 3x3 little section up here in this corner. Okay, so I'll open up my card, and I can start it here, or I can start it here, whatever is the most comfortable to you, as long as you can remember where your 3x3 space should stay. Okay, and we're going to go ahead and put our mark at 3 inches here on our, here, let me show you that. You see the 3 inch mark? So on our Stampin' Trimmer, we're going to start there, and we're going to move almost to the edge, but not quite. So we want to go to the 5/8 inch mark. And again, we can either rotate it this way, or if that confuses you, you can flip it around so that you're keeping that 3x3 spot up in this corner. Okay? Take that away. We can slice, so we're starting at 3 inches this way. This is less confusing because you're always starting at 3 inches and you're moving up. Okay? So we can take and start there and slice to 5/8 of an inch away. Now, we're going to move this away. We're going to fold our card over like this. We've got both our cards folded. The next step is just to hand fold. So we want this little piece here to come towards us and flap down. This piece here. I like to use the grid paper, so I have line measurements to guide my hands. You can see all these little lines on our grid paper. By the way, we do have that grid paper in our online store, so if you're ever needing some, you can pick that up. And now as I fold down, I can see that my areas here are just the same width all the way around, and that this line here comes to about the same spot on this side as it does over there. And if you needed to, you could take and use a straight edge to see, whatever helps. So we're going to fold this one over now, doing the same thing. And you just hand fold, making sure you have approximately the same amount of edge all the way around, and it looks nice and even. So this base is what I used for here, and this card base is what I used for this card. Now the space in the middle is 3 by 3. That's what we cut. So if you're going to layer, the next step is to take and make your pieces smaller than 3 by 3. So any size paper any square paper cardstock that's smaller than this, 2 3/4 by 2 3/4, 2 5/8 by 2 5/8, 2 1/2 by 2 1/2. Those are the 3 layers that I used on these 3 cards here. And then let me just show you this one opened up. The same thing. Thank you for watching. Now go and stamp your art out. Bye-bye.